What's up, guys? So when you're feeding your ball pythons, how big of a rat should you actually be feeding them? What's up, YouTube? It's Baker. Welcome back to Blue Line Morphs, guys. New to the channel, please subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Give me a thumbs up. Comment down below. Check me out on Instagram, blue_line_morphs. Facebook page, Blue Line Morphs. Parlor's Blue Line Morphs. Check me out across there. DM me on there. Do your thing. Post every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Saturday. Something to change. Sometimes I get lazy. I don't post like last Friday. Turning back to the channel. What's up, guys? It's Sunday night for me. Monday night for you guys. Had a pretty solid weekend. Hope you guys all had a happy, safe, relaxed Thanksgiving weekend. I know up here in New York and California, a couple other states, a little weird this year, right? I mean, listen, as a cop, I wasn't going to enforce any of the 10 people rule, right? Whatever. With that being said, a couple updates. Now, remember, I had the one rodent rat mother that was being a surrogate mother to my ASF pups. And she raised them. She raised them to about that big. What happened today is they got fed off. The reason why I decided to feed them off, guys, straight up, one, listen, she was raising them. Could I have maybe let them go a little bigger to see if their attitude changes, the whole colony aspect of African sulfur rats changes with them being raised by those type of rats? Maybe. Maybe I'll try it again. But realistically, the reason why I chose to do that is they were undersized. And what I mean is the other regular rats, Norwegian rats, common rats, whatever the case may be, they got much, much bigger, much more quickly. So they were able to get to the mom much easier. They were kind of booting them out of the way, so they weren't getting the proper nutrition. Even I tried to drop some food inside of the bin or some nuts or whatever the case may be, they kind of got pushed out of the way. So I fed them off to my two Batmans, well, the Batman girl and then the mystery Batman / Red Stripe, whatever the hell he is, male. Is what it is. That being said, I had a bunch of rats left over. That's kind of what today's video is about. I had a bunch of rats left over from Sal. Then I also had my second litter of Norwegian rats. It looks like another female's pregnant, so we're going to have some cranking, some moving. Happy about that, especially considering I got 4 or 5 snakes that need pups. So I'm happy about that. Anyway, listen, shout out, quick little plug for Sal there at Gomez Pythons. He's got a sick little video that's coming out, or it's out already, about a giveaway for a 3-tub rat system, rat rack. It's really, really nice. Exactly what I want him to help me build. I'm not going to enter into it because I don't feel like pissing people off. Because if I happen to win, people are going to think it was set up. Anyway, go head over to his channel, check him out. Definitely enter into that giveaway. It's I've been over his house, I don't know how many times, buying rats from him in that rat shed of his, and he made it himself. It's really, really nice. It's better than all the wooden ones I've ever seen. It's honestly, like, I would have zero reservation about paying for it. So definitely head over and check that out. That being said, guys, we got a show coming up. It's normally the White Plains show, but I guess it's going to be held in a different place on December 13th. Let me know if you guys are coming. Comment down below. I spoke to Sal about it. We're going to try to shoot up there. It's preliminary right now. We'll see what happens, but let me know if you guys are going to go. I like to come up, hang out, meet a couple people, bullshit. You know how it goes. All right, let's get right into today's video. So I did this video before. I did like this. I don't know if I did I? Maybe I did. I think I did the size of the rat for feeding your ball pythons. But like I told you guys, I'm going to be doing videos over again. Now, one, shameless, it is what it is. It's another video for my channel. But more importantly, I told you guys, as I grow as a snake keeper, breeder, etc., or as a YouTube channel, I'm going to rethink some things. Things are going to change along the way. So I'm going to reduce some of these videos, especially when I have people asking about it. That's kind of what happened today. When I was feeding my snakes today, I had a few people hit me up, talk about rodent size, mouse size, rat size, stuff like that, opposed to frozen thawed, or does the rule of thumb carry on up over into full-size ball pythons. So that's what today's video is going to be about, guys. I'm going to kind of talk about the rule of thumb of the size of the rodent compared to the snake, how it changes when the snake gets bigger, or how it changes when the snake's younger, so we'll cover that. I'm also going to cover how you should probably know your snakes as individuals to know how to feed them. And I'm going to cover a few examples in my rack, in my collection, on how you should go about feeding them. Some of my snakes could take a bigger rodent, but they won't. Conversely, some could take a smaller rodent, but take a little bit bigger. We'll talk about that right now. All right, so the rule of thumb, if you're new to ball pythons, rule of thumb is as the thickest part of the ball python is how thick or how big of a rodent you can feed it, okay? So the snake's this big, rodent's this big, you're good to go, okay? Roughly the same size. Now, I understand, you know what's funny is when I first got my retic, which is in Jersey, not New York, I was feeding her like I was feeding a ball python. And Derek was like, bro, like it's not a ball python, it's a retic. You can feed that thing something much bigger than a ball python. So she's this thick, and the rats are like that thick, and she's hammering down no problem whatsoever. But when it comes to ball pythons, the rule of thumb is the thickest part of the ball python is how big of a rodent you can feed them. Okay, now how does this work according to hatchlings? 300 to 800 grams, and then once you get to some of these big galoots, 3,000 grams in here, which I'll show you guys in a second, and how I handle that, and also individuals. So as hatchlings, when you first get the hatchlings, first get the newborns, if you will, 150 grams. I kind of 100 grams. Sometimes, you know, over here the clown girl, she was real small. What I do is, if she's about this thick, I'm gonna feed her a real nice small mouse, or like a pup, a rat pup, or something like that. That's a little undersized for the thickness of the snake, just because I like to get 2 meals in per week. That's why I choose to do that. With that being said, guys, we'll talk about my special pied girl down here, what she did today. So that's the rule of thumb for when they're hatchling. Just I go slightly under, so I can feed them twice a week. But when it comes, now this rule of thumb of the thickest part of the snake to the thickest, to the how thick the rat is, goes really well from like 300 grams up to about 800, 900 grams. Because pretty much what I've been able to tell so far is from 400 grams to 800 grams, they're pretty much taking your weans to your small live rats, no problem whatsoever. You're good to go. They can handle it, they strike, they coil it, they take down the live prey, okay? No problem. But the biggest thing I've seen is when you start getting up to these big girls. And let me show you an example here. Now this girl right here is my big old spider girl. I say old because she's 12 years old. She's big. She's thick. She's about 3,000 grams. Look how thick she is right here at her thickest point. At her thickest point, she's about, I don't know, 3.5, 4 inches. Now, if we go by that rule of thumb of the thickest part of the snake to the thickest part of the rodent, and we try to feed this big old spider girl a rodent that's as thick as she is, you're talking about a big rat, man. Like a real big rat. I got, you know, Big Bull Johnny over here that you guys seen a million times, the gray rat. He's only about this thick. You're talking about a rat that's probably a third of the size bigger than him. Now, can she take that down? Absolutely, guys. There's no doubt in my mind that in the wild, or even if I throw one in her tub, she's going to take it down. But here's the issue. The bigger that rat gets, especially that size, to my boy over there, to a rat that size, the more damage they can do. So when we follow this rule of thumb, of the size of the ball python opposed to the size of the rat, we have to be cognizant that as the ball python gets bigger, and we follow that rule of thumb, the rat gets bigger. And once that rat starts to get a little bit bigger, they can inflict more damage. So with that being said, I don't recommend having a 3,000 gram animal and throwing a rat in there that is the same size or thickness, someone's going to my house, the same size or thickness as the snake, because you can do more damage. So this is what I like to do. 2 things to do. The first thing I do with my bigger girls, my bigger snakes, instead of following that rule of thumb, I'll feed them twice a week, okay? Especially when I'm locking her up, I know she's going to be hammering rats down. Instead of giving her a 200 gram rat, I'll give her 2 small rats at 100 grams apiece. That way I know a big girl like that spider can handle them, no problem whatsoever. Now, if you don't want to feed twice a week, or maybe you can't get live prey, what you can do is, the benefit of feeding frozen thawed is now when you have this big animal like this that can take down a jumbo rat or a bigger sized animal, you can feed him frozen thaw and not have to worry about the rat actually doing any damage to the snake, because once that snake gets to that size and the rodent has to be that size, one bite from that rat can be real detrimental to your animals, especially, let's be honest, you start paying a lot of money for the animal, you're out some money. But more importantly, you can do damage to the animal, you want to get infections, this is going to cause all types of other problems and headaches. So just be aware of that. The rule of thumb, as thick as the ball python is, as thick as the rat can be, and that can pretty much follow it from a hatchling all the way up to about 1,000 grams, 1,500 grams. And once I get into that level, I start to notice that if I follow that rule of thumb, the rats are a little too big for the snake, and it can do some serious damage if it chooses to bite them. So, I said earlier that we're going to talk about not so much the size of the rat compared to the animal, but also talk about your individuals in general. Now, for example, I have this girl right here. Now, this girl right here is my pain in the ass feeder, the Orange Dream Yellow Belly Pastel Spider 100% Het puzzle girl. Now, look at the size of her right here. She's about 1.5 inches to maybe 2 inches thick, which says she should be able to eat a small live rat. But I know she's a finicky eater. I know she's a pain in the ass. So I don't follow that rule of thumb for her. I feed her a smaller prey size. That way she's more inclined, or she's going to take it, okay? With that being said, you segue over to here, I'm not going to take her out, you guys seen her a million times, Harlem, the big old, not the big old clown girl, but the Mama Luke clown girl, she's about this thick, and I feed her slightly bigger rats because I know how aggressive she is. I know how good of an eater she is. I watch it, and if something goes wrong, I stick my tongs in the rat's mouth. She just can't bite it. But because I know the two individual snakes, I know that the spider head puzzle girl is a bad eater. I know she's not as aggressive and takes a little while longer, so I feed her a slightly smaller animal because I don't want her to do damage. With that being said, I know my clown girl over here is an absolute savage, so I can feed her a slightly bigger animal. Okay, so let's segue into like my special pied girl. I'm not going to take her out because I'll be honest with you, she's about this. She's 185 grams, about that thick. I fed her a rat about that thick today. I didn't think she was going to take it down. I watched it like a hawk. It was one of mine left over for my first litter. I figured, why not? Let's give it a shot. She smoked it. Why did I choose to do that? Because I know she's an aggressive eater. With that being said, conversely, that the other small hatchling I have down here, not that great of an eater, not that aggressive. I put a rat in a special pies tank or tub. She flies over to it. This other guy kind of waits for it to come by. So I have to feed him a slightly smaller animal because he's not as aggressive. It's the same thing over here with my killer leopard clown female, my pastel clown pied girl. They're big. One's 1650, the other one's about 1450. They should be all they eat, probably a medium rat. But they're not as aggressive as eaters, so I feed them a slightly smaller animal. That way it's less inclined to, one, do damage. Yes, I know all rats can do damage to the animals, but it's less inclined to take a serious bite, and they're more inclined to take it because I know how they eat. So, by all means, guys, follow that rule of thumb, the thickness of the snake to the thickness of the rat. However, when you start getting to bigger animals, I suggest either breaking it down to 2 smaller meals or get some frozen thawed animals in there, rodents, for your bigger animals. That way you can still feed them that big, medium, or maybe that large, and not have to worry about the damage if that animal were alive and were to bite the animal. With that being said, also know your snakes. Some are better eaters, some are more aggressive eaters. Some, like this big pastel boy with my buddy Brock Blades, you open that tub up, he's coming at you already. You can feed him whatever the hell, you can feed him a rabbit if you want. He's probably going to take it down. But some of these animals aren't as aggressive, so just know your animals when you're feeding them, okay? Hope that helped. I had a lot of people ask me about that in the last few days. As always, guys, listen, I appreciate it. Be safe. Please remember, watch your six.